get to it in 1 second here, folks. I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. Happy holidays to everyone and their families. You know what I'm saying? Hope everyone's having a blast. So I'm gonna mute the show in just a second, so that we can, so that everything can start. And we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have lots and lots and lots of fun, guaranteed. So 1 second, folks. I gotta mute. Hold on.
Blog Talk Radio.
What's going on, folks? It is your boy, Long Beach Joe. Salute to everybody. Man, we're coming back. I hope everyone had a happy holiday. I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. I hope everyone had a good time with their families. I hope everything was safe out there. But guess what? The Jets got themselves a W. The Jets got themselves a W today. Or, excuse me, a couple days ago. Jets beat the Browns 23-16. There's a lot of things going on in this football game. We all know the Browns were dealing with a lot of different stuff coming into the game. The Roro, as everybody knows, the situation. But the Jets were able to find a way, and things looked good, particularly defensively. The Jets looked really good. They looked really good. A lot of pass rush, a lot of guys getting after it. And there's a lot of things that have come about too, rumors since then. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. But listen, I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. So without further ado, folks, let's get into the show. I'm fired up. Y'all. I'm telling you, I'm hyped. I know some people are extremely upset. The Jets got themselves a W against the Browns. Got some callers on the line already. I will be coming to you folks very quickly. But hey, look, the Jets got it done. The Jets got it done, man. They got it done. You looked at the situation coming in. We all had questions about, how the Jets were going to handle things. What were they going to be able to do offensively? Defensively, we had some questions. And the Jets showed up and showed out. Offensively, I thought the Jets looked pretty good. Sam Darnold, I think, was very solid in his football game. He played a very clean game, no turnovers. The kid went out there and did what it took. He did what it took. And I really enjoyed his play. He made a lot of very solid throws in this football game. Particularly, there was one throw he made in between some linebackers that I thought was amazing. I thought it was completely amazing. He really threaded the needle, got it in there, and it was a really solid throw. There was other guys as well on the team that made plays. Jamison Crowder offensively, I thought looked, really good in his football game. He made some plays too. He was the guy, he threw a touchdown to Berrios. I think it was like a 43-yard touchdown. So guys were out there doing what it took. And the only thing I didn't like offensively was I was hoping that we would see more of the young guys. We've talked about this on a weekly basis, how, we hope the Gays would get the ball in the hands of the young guys more often. But, we didn't necessarily see that in this game. But Gore, again, he went out as well, with a lung contusion. So he missed, a bit of the game. But, man, just offensively, I thought we were solid. Though another thing I liked as well offensively, Chris Herndon, he made some plays. He had a TD in this football game. I know the Herndon boys, they're gonna be all over me. But, he's made some plays in the last 2 games, so I'm gonna definitely give him, his credit. Brashad Perryman, I thought alligator armed the ball. I didn't like that much at all. But we had things, going pretty well offensively. I thought we were decent. Defensively, though, is what I was really proud of us. I thought our defense was phenomenal. Our pass rushes was unbelievable in this game. John Franklin Myers, I thought, played well. Terrell Basham made plays. They were all over Baker Mayfield. They forced him into some turnovers, too. Really like what we did. We really, really got after it in this game. There was one garbage call that I almost lost it. When Fadu Kasi got that roughing the passer call, I almost threw everything that I had in front of me at a wall because it was crazy. The man had his arms out and his chest open, and he literally chest bumped Baker Mayfield, and they gave him a ridiculous call. Ridiculous. But, another thing, again, our defense I thought played solidly. Bless Austin, got that pass interference call, but it is what it is, We get a call from him weekly. But everything else, I thought Bryce Hall played well. So we made plays there. Marcus May played well. So guys were out there doing their thing. But special teams, particularly Ficken. Oh, my goodness. This guy Ficken is terrible. All right. We're definitely going to be looking for a kicker in the offseason. Goodness gracious. He misses field goals. Then he kicked, right after we were trying to really close the game out and put the Browns away. He gives them excellent field position and kicked the ball out of bounds. It's like, come on, dude. You got to get it together. We've got to look for a new kicker. We've got to. This offseason, we've got to. We had so many issues. If it wasn't Ficken, then it was Castillo with his nonsense, his issues, missing kicks. I mean, it was ridiculous. But again, the dominance from the defense I thought was very solid. And again, there's a lot of guys that I think we can go forward and build with. So I really, really like what we did there defensively. And now, we all hearing it. The rumors are coming out that Chris Johnson has informed many people within, the Jets' internal, front office that he's going to fire Adam Gase at the end of the season. Hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. It is what it is there. I used to have a lot of people hit me up at the end of at the end of my streams or during my streams talking about how upset they were or angry that they were that he hadn't been fired earlier, which I completely understood. But some people started to talk about that they thought that Adam Gase was going to be staying around, that he would be here for another season. And I always said, that would be an egregious decision. If you kept Adam Gase here for another year or tried to extend him, whatever, that you would be making a gigantic mistake for this franchise. Okay, because clearly he set us back years. Just his coaching alone has set us back quite some time. So, that's floating around out there. So we have a lot to talk about. We have quite a bit to talk about. The Jets are now also locked in for the number 2 pick in the first round. I know people are upset about that as well. People got a lot to talk about. So I'm going to get to these lines. Salute to everybody again. Happy holidays to everybody. I hope everyone's having a good time. I'm going to get to these lines. I'm going to talk to the callers. We're also going to talk to the Savages in the chat. If this is your first time listening to me, I live stream while I do my show. So I call my chat the Savages. Why? Because they're savage. No one is safe out here. No one. Not even me. Not even me. So we're going to get to the lines. We're going to go to Elias, man. I want to hear from Elias today. Elias, my friend, how are you doing? How are you feeling about the Jets beating the Browns 23-16?
Joe, what's going on, man? Seems like it's been a while. How you doing?
Yeah, it's been a little bit. It's been all, I've been all right. How about yourself? Happy holidays to you and your family.
Yeah, absolutely. You too, man. Honestly, man, I'm not mad about winning this because after I saw how Jacksonville played, I'm like, hey, if we lost this game, they're not beating Indianapolis. So it really makes no difference. So it was good to see them play well. I was really impressed by the defensive line. And, man, I heard the best news ever today, which the Adam Gase getting fired isn't, I expected that. But the report is that Joe Douglas is going to be the main guy in the coaching search.
Yeah.
That's got me excited because I don't want this clown Christopher Johnson picking like Bill O'Brien or someone. So yeah, man. But going back to the game, defensive line played real well. We got like 3 turnovers on Baker Mayfield. Part of it was like on his struggle was they didn't have any wide receivers because some guys got on the runner list. But man, Sam, he was okay. Completion percentage not great, but man, we don't need Trevor Lawrence. We got Jamison Crowder. You can build around him, and he probably threw the best ball of the season.
Oh my goodness. You know what? But I'll tell you what, listen, Jamison did play a very solid game. I think he had like 92 yards off of 7 catches. I thought he played extremely well. And I thought that throw to Barrios was solid. But even going back to what you were talking about with Darnold, I looked at him and I saw a guy that really made plays out here today. And I know, he only had like 175 yards on the day, but I thought he played a very solid and clean game. I think he did. And he had 2 TDs on the day. I thought he looked good. My question for you is, especially when we're talking about, Gase not being here for the future, which we'll get into that in just a second. Do you believe that Sam Darnold is a guy that can turn it around if given the proper coaching?
Dude, us not having that number 1 pick makes it interesting now, because now there's actually kind of a debate. Before it was kind of pretty obvious that the Jets were most likely going to take Trevor Lawrence, but now it gives you a debate. I honestly do believe in the guy. I think I'm not 100%, sure if he could do it here. I think he'll be a solid quarterback. I think it's so tough, man, because he's played okay the past 2 weeks. He's been awful this year, though, as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
You could say talent around him, but, look at what Deshaun Watson's doing. He doesn't have anything around him either.
Oh, no, he's got something around him.
Either,
whoa. Wait a second,
no.
Elias. Yes, he does. Deshaun Watson has more than what we have. And also, he's had more than what he's...
Okay, Brandon Cooks, that's it.
Well, he's got Cooks. He's also... when Will Fuller was healthy, he had Fuller. If you look at his offensive line, it's better than what we have here. Those things matter. And especially when you have... And I'm not caping for Darnold. I'm just telling you the facts here. Especially when you've had Deshaun Watson... Or not Deshaun Watson, excuse me. Especially when you've had, the wide receiver that he had in the past before they traded him. When you look at what he's had with Hopkins, he had 2 years, to really learn the game with the number 1 wide receiver. Sam has never had that. He's never had that. Nothing. That's a good point. So I think it's, and look, I understand. And again, I'm not a Sam caper. If I'm not caping for Sam, when he plays badly, I'm the first one to say it. But I really feel like there's unfair assessment with him because everyone compares him to all these other quarterbacks. And you just did it. You talked about Deshaun Watson. Some people talk about, Josh Allen. I hear a lot of people, well, Josh Allen's doing better. Yeah, because he's got better talent, better coaching. Sam has never had that. Since he's gotten here, Sam has always had a bottom-feeding offensive line. That's a fact. He's had no weapons. Sure. And this year's offensive squad is worse than last year's. And we were ranked 32nd in offense last year.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, before... And I understand the allure of all these other young quarterbacks as well. Fields, I know his name is starting to come around. Wilson, people are starting to really get fired up about Zach Wilson. I'm not disrespecting anybody, but all I'm saying is when you talk about Sam Darnold and you talk about his situation, please give it a fair assessment. That's all I'm saying, is give the guy a chance. Because if he was given better coaching, if he was out here throwing interceptions with the weapons that Baker Mayfield usually has on the weekly, I'll be the first person to tell you his ass needs to get out of here. He needs to be gone. But that's not, that's not what's happening on a weekly basis. You know what I'm saying? But with that, Elias, I don't want to get hung up on that too much. But again, with the news that Gase is going to be gone, you touched on that a little bit. Where do you think the Jets rank as far as, spots that are available for new head coaches?
I like this question.
Yeah, where do you think we rank? I want to know. Let me know. Where do you think we rank? The teams out there like the Chargers, Jags, Lions, Texans, Falcons. Where do you think we rank within those teams?
Okay, so based on who I think is going to be getting fired, I would say 3. So number 1 is the Chargers, no doubt about it. You got a stud quarterback. You got a bunch of weapons, a ton of talent. Just they've been bad because they haven't been coached well. So that's, and then number 2, I would, Jacksonville. They're not a great team, but having Trevor Lawrence with the title of generational talent and how good he is as a prospect, I think that makes him a little more attractive than the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Texans, I don't think are an attractive spot at all. You get a stud quarterback, but you don't have a first-round pick. You don't have a second-round pick.
Yep.
You don't have any salary cap space. You have a bad roster, too.
Yep.
So I would put maybe the Jets 3. If the Bengals fire their quarterback, that would be more attractive than Jets because you got Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
But, the Falcons I don't think are insanely attractive. They got a great team, but quarterback-wise, they're paying them a ton of money. And you don't really have the opportunity. You have the opportunity to draft your quarterback there, but you're still paying Matt Ryan so much money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure those are all the head coaching openings. Detroit is definitely not as attractive as the Jets. Who else? Chicago might fire their guy. They're in a bad position to draft a quarterback, and their quarterback Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles are not good at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably put the Jets either 3 or 4. Before I would have put them 1 or 2, but now I think 3 or 4. I don't think it's completely out the window that you're going to get an awful head coach, but
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think you're going to get an awful head coach. I think you'll get someone good. A guy I'm looking at is Brian Daboll, because a lot of guys like to stay in their division.
Yeah.
And taking him from Buffalo would be huge. Yeah, man. So I'd be real interested in that. But I'm really interested to see what we work with. I don't want I just don't want a guy who gets fired this year and then you hire him right after games. In my opinion, if a coach gets fired unless they're Bill Belichick, then they got to be a coordinator for a year and reassess themselves. I don't want a retread, to be honest. I don't want Harbaugh. I don't want Doug Peterson. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's a lot that's going to be going on and a lot to talk about. I mean, like you said, I kind of see us there as well as kind of that maybe 3, possibly 2, depending on how you look at things. Because I know some people talk about the Jags and their ownership, and they're not necessarily excited about what they're doing or what they've done in the past as well. But I think we're up there. I think we're higher than a lot of people want to rank us. And especially when you talked about, and that's what I was going to bring up too, the Texans situation. Everyone goes, well, they got Deshaun Watson. Well, yeah, but they also have issues with their salary cap and the floor is lowering. And then, like you said as well, the draft pick, they don't have much, and you've got a bad roster, full of people that you're probably going to, have to move on from. So you're going to be stuck for a second with him, but nothing else around him. So that was a great take there. But Elias, I got to get back to these lines, man. Listen, I want to thank you for calling in, my friend, and I want you to have a good night, all right?
Absolutely, man. You too.
And you have a good one. Whew, Elias calling in with the fire. I'm going to keep banging to these lines. Salute to everybody. Happy holidays to everybody. I want to thank everybody for joining and watching. Everybody's talking about, listen, my eye, for those of you that are not watching the live stream, if you're listening to me on Blog Talk Radio, my eye's a little swollen here. It is a sty. I have no clue what's going on here, but I'm not going to let that stop the show. That's why I was like, I'm not, I'm saying? I'm not going to hide. It's a sty. It was smaller than this. I don't know what happened. I woke up. It was crazy. So it is what it is, but I'm not going to let that stop me. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep it rolling. We're going to keep talking about these Jets. We're going to keep talking about what we have coming up for the future. So I'm going to get to my next caller. I'm going to go on, I'm bringing Chris on. We're going to talk to Chris. Listen, Chris, first off, I want to thank you for calling in, my friend. I want you to give me your thoughts on the Jets beating the Browns 23-16.
Well, hello, Joe. For your eye, I wish you a speedy recovery. I hope you had a good holiday and a good vacation.
Yeah.
Now, to answer your question, there are 2 sides of this. I'm happy on one side, but I'm kind of disappointed on the other, and I'm going to get to it why. I'm happy that they won, for the players to get used to the winning. But the reason I'm disappointed is because I wanted them to lose because it has nothing to do, and here's where I don't want to confuse anybody. The reason I wanted them to lose is not because of the draft pick. Considering I'm not a fan of draft picks, I don't trust them. It never works well.
Okay.
I wanted them to lose because to send a message to coaching staff and ownership that we, and you should agree with me on this, that we as Jets fans are tired of the way the culture has been in the past couple of years, maybe a decade, and we want to change in the team. That's why by losing, it'll send ownership a message. That's pretty much why I wanted them to lose. It has nothing to do with Trevor Lawrence. It has nothing to do with draft picks. Nothing like that.
Well,
but that's the main reason.
Okay, well, hold on a second, Chris. And
and-
again, listen, I want to thank you again for calling in. I look at the situation. I hear what you're saying. You know, you being frustrated, you're being upset with the way that the culture and everything is, but you can win and still change the culture, right? Like, look at this situation. We just beat the Browns, right? We beat them 23-16. We got the job done, and reports are flying that we're going to fire Adam Gase, and that they're going to allow Joe Douglas to pick our next head coach. Is that not changing the culture? Because one of the big reasons why we were losing, one of the biggest issues that we had, you know, in our locker room period was Adam Gase. He even ran off players while he was here. You know, we talked. Jamal Adams came out and talked about him. Quincy Enunwa's talked about issues they had with him. There's been multiple players that have popped off and talked about things. So we're getting rid of one of the guys that, one of the biggest problems that the Jets have, and we're going to hire a new guy that's going to come in and be able to set the situation and get the culture together around here to help us turn it around. I mean, isn't that exactly what we're doing now, and we still won?
On one side, yeah, I agree with you now that I just heard it.
Okay.
And then the second reason, there's another reason that I wanted them to lose is because the reason, and also I wanted the Browns to win because I'm sure there are Browns fans probably watching you. But the reason was because if the Browns would have won, not only would they have clinched the division, but they could have had a first round bye as the second seed in the playoffs. Because they deserved it. They worked hard to get to where they are now, from being 0-16 to 10-5. You know,
okay.
If you think about it, and I think, yeah. You know,
I mean, look. I hear you, Chris, but here's the deal. Here's the deal. When you got to earn everything that you want in the NFL. There is no, hey, you deserve this. There is no, you earn everything. How many times have we gone against teams that we were better than, or we thought we were better than, you know, in the past, and got smacked? I remember last year we played the Dolphins. Should we have? Do they just give away wins in the league? That's not how it works. If you don't go out there and earn every single victory, it is what it is. Especially when, again, this is just what we call Jets here. Look, you go out there. I don't give a damn if you think you're the greatest thing smoking or whatever you've done, you know, to build your football team to wherever it's gotten. If you do not go out there and earn a win against whatever team that you're going out there, then you deserve to lose. That's it. That's how the NFL works.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You got a point.
Yeah, that's how the NFL works. If you don't go out there and show and prove, if you don't go out there and put the pedal to the metal and take that game away, there is nothing gifted in the NFL. Nothing. So it kind of is what it is there. But Chris, I want to thank you for calling in, my friend. I want to thank you for calling in.
All right, my friend.
Go ahead.
Okay, just to conclude, I have to admit, and I didn't see the game, but I did see the highlights. I have to admit, the way that Sam hit that left tackle from the Browns, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, when he ran over that linebacker, yeah, he dropped the shoulder. And yeah, you know, I don't want to see Sam do that too much. Yeah, I don't want to see Sam do that too much. Okay? I don't want to see him take them shots too much, but, you know, it is what it is. But again, Chris, I want to thank you for calling in, man.
Same, my friend. You take care of yourself, all right? Happy holidays. Wish your family happy holidays for me and a happy new year.
All right. Same to you, my friend. You have a good one. Happy holidays to you and your family. Whew, listen, Chris calling in with a unique perspective. I respect everybody, you know, but, you know, listen, this is football. And if you don't go out there and earn those victories, it's done. It's quiet for you out here. Nobody gets gifted anything in this league, period, point blank. Unless you go out there and earn it, you're not getting it. So I'm going to keep going on with these callers out here. Salute to everybody in the chat. Again, my eye will be okay. I want to thank everyone for the concerns. I'll be all right. We'll get through this. But I'm not going to let it stop us from talking about this Jets victory and talking about where the Jets are going. Definitely want to get into it. You know what I'm saying? So going to go to the next caller. Salute to them, caller. Thank you for calling in. I want you to give me your thoughts about the Jets beating the Browns 23-16.
Hey, what's going on, bud? It's Chris from Florida. You know what? I'm actually really happy about the Jets beating the Browns. I was unfortunately being pulled into the whole tank for Trevor and stuff, but in the end of the day, it's happened. You know, move on from that and just appreciate that the team is moving forward and the team is still looking like you've got quality players and we're not we're not a forgotten organization. You can't let all this negativity overcome you. We all know what was the problem from this team. We all know who was the biggest issue walking into that office.
Yeah.
And when they were given the job. Now we have a sign of hope. Now this is all I'm going to say right here. As a fan, I honestly believe, as a fan, not as an expert, not as somebody who's done the game, as a fan who's just watching, Sam Darnold was clearly given a bad deal. Sam Darnold was clearly not taken care of. And you could see almost the perspective of what Sam could have had because of Baker Mayfield. Look what happened when Baker Mayfield played the Jets. And literally, Evans and his offensive line was diminished because of COVID. That has been Sam Darnold's position for the past 3 years. And he lost and the Browns lost to us. They lost to the Jets that only had one win on them so far.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to say our team was good enough. But look, everyone was so convinced the first year of Baker Mayfield, he was hyped, just like Sam. The second year, he was a disappointment, just like Sam. Third year, though, they got the right coach to take care of him, and now he was moving up. But then you took away his weapons, and he looked just like Sam.
Exactly.
I'm telling you, exactly. So as far as my opinion, I think when we heard the reports about what the deal is as far as Christopher Johnson's position and the hiring and Joe Douglas's position, I like what I hear. All I can say is whatever the coach picks, I'm going to go with. I personally, as a fan, hope they stick with Sam Darnold and they give him at least 1 year, because what do you have to lose if you do stick with Sam Darnold for that 1 year you have? This fourth year that is still already guaranteed. You don't have to pick up his fifth year yet, and you can use at least all those other draft picks to build around the team. And then if it doesn't work out with Sam, you've got the very following year, and you've got more players than you had the year before.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. I think Joe Douglas's draft picks were quite good this year. I would have to give it a good B+, only because a few of them were was injury prone, but also that we all still wonder why he picked a quarterback. I don't get it. But in Joe, we trust this 2021. I'm preaching it to everyone.
Yeah, you're bringing the fire right now. You bringing the fire right now. You bringing the fire right now. I mean, you talking that talk. Yeah, listen. I agree with everything that you're pretty much saying. I look at the situation kind of the same way. You look at the situation with Sam, you have to see, especially with the situation that we're in right now, I think it would be smart to bring him back to, pick up that option. And again, you may have him again, because I think you might be able to franchise him as well after the year with the option too. But you can pick up that option, continue to build and move forward with that pick, and figure out what you're going to be doing in the future with him. And I like that ideal. I was talking about it before, even if we had a first round pick, or even if we had the first pick in the first round, I thought it'd be smart for us to trade down and continue to build around him that way. Because like you said, the biggest issue that we've had here has been coaching. And now we're getting rid of the guy, according to reports, they're going to fire him right after the season is done. And we're going to go out there and, find the right guy to move forward with us. And especially like you said, and Joe, you trust. Listen, it's all about Joe Douglas finding the right guy, finding a guy that understands his vision and is able to carry it out. Now, with that said, because you're bringing the fire right now, where do you think we rank on the list of teams that have available head coaching spots? Like, do you have us first? Do you have us second? Do you have us last? Where do we rank on your list?
Out of the top 5 teams that I think that are currently open in positions that we know about.
Yeah, like the Chargers, the Jags, the Lions, the Texans, and the Falcons.
Exactly. So with those positions, I would have to say we rank third. However, I do believe that Joe we trust, because this is the thing. Joe Douglas has to be the man to sell the team. As the GM, Christopher Johnson has to sit aside, just give Joe Douglas a blank check and say, you and your team of professionals that you've hired to not only pick players, but also now pick the coach and analysts will go ahead and I'll pay the bill.
Yeah.
Just get who you think. And Joe Douglas needs to sell the team. I truly believe that we've heard so many good things from other coaches, other staff members, and even reporters saying how much Joe Douglas has gained the respect of the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I do not doubt that Joe Douglas will pull out a top coach into this company, because everyone talks about the Matt Rule situation, how Matt Rule was pushed. The reason he didn't take the job because he was forced and being pushed to take someone he didn't want under his staff.
Yep.
And who was the GM at the time? Was McCagnon. This is a completely different situation. Joe Douglas is the man who's in charge of the staff, and he is the one who's going to present this team, present what things we have. We have the second biggest cap space. We have multiple draft picks. We are the biggest selling city for one of the greatest places to gain money and profit. I'm not just talking about coaching either. I'm talking about players. Joe, with the way he presents himself and the way he presents things and outcomes, I feel like I have faith in him. So I do think we may be as like the top third or fourth, but Joe Douglas could make us look like a top one pick. If he just sells the team the right way, and I trust him.
Listen, Chris talking that talk right now. I love your takes. I love the energy. I love the takes. I love what you're bringing to the table, and I agree. That's some factual stuff, especially like you. Go ahead.
The one thing I want to say though is that even on Christopher Johnson and Joe Douglas, whichever coach we pick, as long as we're open-minded, I have to have faith that if Joe Douglas trusts in the coach, he also has to trust in the coach's decision, because you hire the coach, you're letting him make this team. So if he decides he wants Darnold, I trust in the coach's decision. But if he wants a different quarterback, I trust in this coach's decision. I just need to know that Joe Douglas is going to get the right coach first. That's how I'll feel about the roster later on. You know, as far as Sam, I hope he stays. But no matter what, I have to trust Joe Douglas first. Show me that you truly are the man that everyone's talked about, and the man I truly feel is going to lead my team to a Super Bowl.
Yo, salute to you, Chris. You're bringing the fire, my friend. It was great speaking to you tonight. You have a good night, man. Oh.
Thank you, bro. Jets, Jets!
Ooh. Listen, Chris brought the fire. I ain't gonna lie to you. Chris brought the fire. All right. Woo. He touched on a lot of great points. And he brought it. I'm talking about, he believes in Joe Douglas, going forward. He's excited about where the team's headed. And he thinks we're ranked third. I got a big question for a lot of people. And again, if you want to call in, it's 515-602-9639, 515-602-9639. Woo, we got quite a bit of callers. Everyone be patient. I will get to every single person. Before I get back to these callers, I want to go to the chat really quickly. I want to talk to the Savages. That's what I want to do. We got some Savages in the chat. Really quickly, TJ Decker in the chat. Salute to you, TJ. TJ says, now that Gaze is going, I pray the media feast on him Sunday. These beat writers are suckers and they do anything to defend him, so they have to have insight in the situation. Let the dogs loose and drill him with tough questions. Woo. Ooh. TJ also says, what a waste of 2 years and potentially Sam's career. Yeah. And that's what I look at the situation. Again, when Gaze is let go, if these reports are completely correct, when he's let go, listen, we've got to find the right guy. The next head coaching hire, even though we're talking about players constantly, even though we're constantly talking about, all the things that we have going on with the draft upcoming, free agency and all this stuff, one of the biggest decisions the New York Jets are going to have to make going forward is who's going to be the next head coach of the Jets. Because that changes everything. Because you also got to think the head coach also changes some of the players you may want. Do they fit his scheme? Do they fit what he wants to do? How can he utilize their skill sets? Is he even good at utilizing skill sets? Look what happened with Adam Gase, right? There were guys that we thought, Sam Darnold, guy that we thought, hey, he looks good. We know that he doesn't necessarily have the greatest offensive coordinator, in Bates. But once we move on and they bring in Gase, he looks nothing like the quarterback that he was before. Nothing. He looks like a check down Charlie. So it is what it is. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going to these calls. We're going to get right back to it. Got quite a bit of callers. Everyone, please be patient. I'm going to my guy. I think this is Val, man. I think this is my dude, Val. That's what I think it is. You know what I'm saying? Val, is this you on the line? Are you here to talk to me about the Jets beating the Browns 23-16? Is this you, Val? Happy holidays to you and your family. What are your thoughts on us winning this football game, man?
Happy holidays, Joe. First, I need to hear that JETS chant real quick.
You already know. You already know how it is with me.
We have some great news. We have some beautiful news that we just heard today. Adam Gase in that dark cloud that was hovering around us for 2 years. We are finally gonna be free from this guy. And these horrible screens, we don't have to see no more screens.
No more screens.
No more TV screens. We can actually see the TV now. So I'm happy. So yeah. So it's your question.
Yeah, but before we get in there, first off, again, thank you, Val, for calling in. Salute and happy holidays to you and your family. But I want to let's touch on the game first before we get into Adam Gase. I really want to talk to you about what we saw out there. What were your thoughts about the defense and how they attacked Baker in this football game? I thought our pass rush was phenomenal. How are you feeling about Nathan Shepard, Basham and John Franklin Myers, those guys getting after it?
Man, let me tell you, I haven't seen Shepard in I don't even know how long, and I'm starting to see him game in, game out. And we don't have no Quentin Williams, reminding everybody.
Yeah.
We do not have Quentin Williams out there, and they are bowling.
Yeah.
I definitely love it. They couldn't even run the ball. We just stopped Chubbs. Chubbs been running all over defensive linemen all season long, and we actually stopped them. So that's how you know we have some guys that probably want to be here or that is really showing out and, that is hungry. And I really love it. I love how the defense is coming out. And that defensive line, we definitely got to build around that.
Yeah.
And we see a bright spot.
Yeah. What were your thoughts about that terrible call against Fatukasi, that roughing the passer? I mean, the guy had his arms out and his chest out and just bumped Baker and got that call. How are you feeling about these nonsensical calls that we've seen all year kind of go against us as far as roughing the passer and stuff like that?
Man, I mean, it's a lot of bad calls. I can't even lie. It's a lot of bad calls that goes our way, and it's just that we gotta just take advantage. If we get those, those plays that we're supposed to get, we gotta at least, try to help ourselves as well too.
Mm-hmm.
At least I was saying the offensive plays and stuff. Like,
yeah.
I feel like we're limiting the penalties and stuff. So I would say we're doing a good job with that. We don't see too many offsides as we did last year. So I would say there's some improvement with that. And we don't have no Buster Scream always, holding and stuff. So
yeah,
we actually, improving in that as well too, because that was a huge problem.
Yeah,
we had Buster Scream.
So, I remember those days. That dude was a walking pass interference
penalty. I definitely
penalty.
remember those days too.
Woo, that was horrible.
Man.
But going to the
It was
offense
bad.
real quick, what are your thoughts about Sam Darnold in this football game? How do you feel about him and his performance?
I would say it was a decent game. He definitely played it safe. He was passing the ball. He wasn't playing hero ball again. This is the second week, so
Talk to me.
He's doing very good with that. Yeah, he's doing very good with that. And Chris Herndon, I guess he learned how to catch. I guess towards the end of the season. I don't even know if I just said his name right, but the tight end.
Herndon,
But,
yeah, Chris Herndon.
So, yeah, Herndon, yeah. So I guess he learned how to catch and stuff. So he's catching touchdown passes. Sam Darnold, I feel like he's not rushing the passing. Yes, he did get a couple of sacks, but he's not forcing it. I do want him to at least throw the ball away instead of running out of bounds to put us in like all the way, back and stuff.
Yeah.
So I would say, I would say, he has some time to clean up, but let's see what happens in the future.
Yeah, we'll see. Now, even going back to this head coaching search that we have, that we could possibly have coming up with Gaze being gone, where do you have us ranked? Like, where do we rank? It's Chargers, Jags, Lions, Texans, Falcons. That's just what we know, the openings that we know as of right now. Where do you have us ranked within, the squads that have head coaching positions available?
Okay, so I actually, when I was listening, I was hearing your line of questioning, so I actually wrote it down. I have the LA Chargers at number 1.
Okay.
I have number 2, the Jaguars. I have the Jets at number 3. I have the Houston Texans at number 4, and I have the Lions at number 5.
Okay. So when you look at the situation,
I definitely have the Jets ranked at number 3.
Okay, when you have us ranked at number 3, I'm gonna play devil's advocate for just a second. You look at this situation, say you have a top coaching candidate, right? Like, who's your top guy right now that you would like to see the Jets hire?
That's kind of tough. You're going to have to come back. We're going to have to come back to that. I'm still debating on a lot of stuff, but Greg Roman, I think I ruled him out because he doesn't know how to adjust. And defensive coach-minded could actually, discover his play.
So
he doesn't know how to change it up. So yeah.
What do you say about like Brian DeBoe? Like, what do you say about DeBoe or Arthur Smith?
Ryan DeBoe?
Yeah.
Oh, Arthur Smith. I've been hearing a lot about Arthur Smith.
Okay. Let's go with Arthur Smith.
So,
yeah. Let's go with Arthur Smith. Say that's your guy, right? Say he's a top head coaching candidate right now, right? Say you have a top head coaching candidate, and they look at the situation and they say, I like the team. I think I can build, but I don't like that Sam is here. Do you think that Sam being here could push some head coaching candidates, some of the guys that we want? Do you think that could push some of them out the door, and do you fear that?
Oh, well, there's been a report that came out today, actually, that I actually like to hear, is that the coach, whoever we bring in, is going to have a decision on if they want Sam Darnold or if they don't want Sam Darnold. Mm-hmm. So that's been discovered today. So it was a lot of great news today, So the coach is going to have a lot of leeway. So, I think that that alone attracts coaches to come. So they know that they're going to have a decision that if they want the quarterback, then they will have the quarterback. And if they don't, then they will have the decision to, either draft a quarterback or sign a quarterback from free agency. So, yeah. So,
yeah, you would hope that, you would hope that the guy that whoever Joe Douglas brings in, that guy is, all in with whatever his vision is. Like you said, I'm sure that the first thing he's going to ask him is, hey, how do you feel about our quarterback position? And so if a guy does like Darnold, right, he's definitely going to, be able to come in and do his thing. But if he doesn't like Darnold, in my personal opinion, I look at the situation like if a guy doesn't like Darnold, that may put him down a tick on, our head coaching candidate list. Because I think that Joe Douglas more than likely is going to want to stick with Sam. I do.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, yeah.
Go ahead.
I do, because the thing is, he definitely, because sometimes his words is kind of shaky. Like you could believe some things he says, and then you can't believe some things what he said because with the whole offensive line last year that we had with the Oakland, I forgot his name. KO, and he kind of held his word with that as well. Yeah, he didn't hold his word with that. And, so I would say it's a business. So let's see what he does. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if he is going to keep Sam Darnold, I'm with it. I'm with it as well. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. Like I said, Sam Darnold has to prove me wrong. Like I said, even if we would have got Trevor Lawrence, he has to prove to me that he is the franchise quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So,
no, understandable.
No, yeah. Sam Darnold was not dealt right. We did not handle him right. We didn't get the right head coach. And I feel like we handled that coaching search very poorly by getting Adam Gase. Every Jet fan knew Adam Gase was not the right head coach for this team at all.
Yeah.
I mean, all you got to do is just look at his history. So, that falls on the ownership. So,
Yeah.
But,
you speaking facts.
Yeah.
You speaking facts, Val. Listen, man, I got to get back to the rest of these callers. I mean, the lines are lighting up. Listen, I want to thank you for calling in, my friend. Happy holidays to you and your family, and you have a good night.
All right, you too. And we definitely have to resign Marcus May as well, too. We have
for sure.
to do that.
Yeah.
But other than that, All right, Joe. Nice show. Everybody like and subscribe to this man. Keep doing your thing, Joe.
All right, thank you so much, Val. You have a good one.
You too.
Whew, listen, Val calling in with the fire. There's a lot to talk about. Adam Gase could be out of here. There's a lot of candidates out there, that'd be willing to come in and really, figure out what we got going on here. I'm going to keep going to these lines, though. Salute to everybody in the chat. I'll get to everybody again. This is just a sty, folks. On my eye is just a sty. Everything's going to be okay. This is one of my first times ever having one. I don't even know what happened, but my eye's a little swollen. But guess what? We're not going to let that stop me. Okay? We're not going to let that stop the show. We're going to keep going. So I'm going to my guy, Rich. My guy, Rich, on the line. Listen, Rich, salute to you. Happy holidays to you and your family, my friend. What are your thoughts about the Jets beating the Browns 23-16?
Well, we wanted to put that last exclamation point on the fact that, at least in my heart, we don't need Trevor Lawrence. That's right. You're hearing it right. We don't need him. Okay? So,
Rich calling in with the fire.
Honestly,
Rich said that. Rich called in and said, we don't need Trevor Lawrence. That's what he said. Go ahead, Rich.
So, Jacksonville, where your ownership is just as dysfunctional as the Jets, I don't know why more people don't bring that up.
Yeah.
You can have Trevor Lawrence, do what you want with him, and continue to watch the other teams around you win the division every year. Because I'm sorry, when they say things like, oh, he's coming in with as much hype as Andrew Luck and whatever, that's fine. You're still going to the crappiest team in the NFL, record-wise at least. You're not one man that could just save a whole franchise. If that were the case, Sam Darnold should be a 3-time Super Bowl champion already.
Yeah.
So, with that said, we went into this game. I mean, don't get me wrong, that we got some gifts in the beginning because of the fact that most of the team was on the COVID list for wide receivers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we still did our thing. And at the end of the day, if nothing else, the Browns have always made, the last few years, they've always made us look bad. Like, we were the first team ever to give up a home run, a touchdown to Johnny Manziel, right?
Yeah.
So, finally, after all these years, we've repaid them back and have dashed their playoff hopes.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the situation, like you said, and again, I want to thank you for calling in, Rich. Look, we went out there and we played solidly. I was very surprised that we were able, and I mean, I know that they were dealing with the stuff from the Railroad, but the fact that we were able to really shut down their running game was something that I looked at and I was like, wow. Because they only had 45, I think it was like 45 yards total. And like, other callers spoke about Chubb, that guy's been running extremely well. Hunt is a guy, again, that has definitely shown that he can make an impact in football games. And we shut those guys down. They didn't get off and get crazy on us. And that's what I want to go to you with as well. When you look at our defensive line and not only the run stuffing, but the pressure that they put on Baker, and they were able to get turnovers. What are your thoughts about some guys like Nathan Shepard, Basham, and all those guys, John Franklin Myers, getting after it? Are these guys that you think we should keep around for the future?
Absolutely. I mean, look at the two guys you just named, Chubb and the other guy. Those were the guys that should have, Kareem Hunt, they should have been the two guys getting the ball at that 4th and inches in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Why would you do a quarterback sneak? Why? Because they were afraid that they were going to get stuffed like they've been getting stuffed all day.
Yeah.
So the defense did their job in terms of, stopping that running game. And those guys that you named are people that should be evaluated as staying here put on the team for future. Because right now, if you're stopping a pretty good run game like Cleveland,
yeah,
then all you need to do is start restocking, in the secondary, and now you got a defense.
Yeah. That's the man. I'm telling you, I'm so excited about those guys, especially going forward. And you talked about as well. You need to restock. You need to get more players. We got drafts coming up. We add a pass rush. And again, we did all this stuff with Quentin Williams out. We all know that he's on IR right now for the rest of the season, dealing with the concussion and neck injury that he has. But man, can you imagine if he would have played? Can you imagine if we add a pass rusher to what we're already seeing out here? Like a legit pass rusher in the draft?
Yeah.
It'd be crazy, man. It'd be completely crazy. But I want to go to this head coaching situation with you, Rich, because I know you got a lot to talk about here. Listen, Gase, the reports is he's gone. He's going to be fired after the season. Who is your guy that you want to see the Jets hire if once Gase is gone, if the reports come true?
Wow. I mean, I went into it wanting all year Eric Bieniemy, but I think I've kind of like changed course on that. Like, honestly, I can't really give you a name on that, because what I would want is I want a seasoned veteran coach, somebody that comes in and is a presence, because that's what the Jets need right now. They need a kick in the butt. They need a wake-up call. So they don't need like a young guy coming in that's, trying out new things and whatever. I want an older, seasoned veteran that says, you know what, Sam, these last 3 years, okay, we're going to say it wasn't your fault. From this moment on, everything is on your shoulders to get this right, because I'm the guy that's going to lead you. So who that guy is, I don't know. Like I said, I can't put a name to it. In the interim, like I said, I won't want Eric Bieniemy, but I need more of a presence now in the locker room to wake these guys up.
Okay. Hey, look, I respect that. I respect that. So, where exactly do you think the Jets rank in the list of head coaching available spots right now? Where do you think they rank?
Like your previous caller said, I think we're like 3.
Okay.
I think number 1 clearly would be Jacksonville. I mean, he said the Chargers, but I think Jacksonville because of the whole Trevor Lawrence thing. And number 2 would probably be the Chargers, and then 3 would be us. But we just have to make sure, no matter what, that the guy who's hiring that coach is Joe Douglas.
Yeah,
not Christopher Johnson, not Woody Johnson whenever he comes back from England, whatever. Like, real quick, Joe, I know you have other callers, but real quick, have you ever in your life heard of a man who owns a team that he paid millions of dollars for say, I'm taking a 4-year break to go be an ambassador in another country, so I'm leaving my brother in charge of it?
Look.
What kind of businessman is that?
It is what it is. It is what it is. We're dealing with what we're dealing with. But I tell you what, Rich, the point is that right now we're turning it around. Because they did get the right guy, I believe, as our general manager, bringing in Joe Douglas. He's respected around the league. We've seen him make a lot of different moves that have continued to better this football team. And I think allowing him to make the decisions, letting football guys make football decisions, is going to be huge for us. Going to be completely huge for us. And I'm excited about that. That's what I'm hyped about, Rich. That's what I'm hyped about. You know what I'm saying? So, again, Rich, listen, I got other callers I got to get to. Salute to you, my friend, and thank you for calling in tonight.
Thank you. Happy New Year, and I will see you next year, because I can't wait for this one to be over.
All right, Rich. You have a good night. Rich calling in with a fire. I'm going to keep going to these lines. Salute to everybody in the chat. YGE Zay. There's my link tree. You can go there and check out my YouTube. Again, everyone that checks me out, if you're watching the live stream, my YouTube is Long Beach Joe Jets. Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube. You can check me out on there and watch my entire live streams. But listen, people calling in with the fire. I'm going to get to everybody. I know I got quite a bit of callers. We're going to keep on going, keep moving. Again, people, this is a style. I know everyone's concerned. Don't worry. I'll be okay. It's going to go down. It's my first time, one of my first times dealing with it. So it is what it is. But I'm not going to let that stop the show. We're going to keep on rolling. So I'm going to go to my guy, Steve, next. Woo! My guy, Steve, on the line. I want to talk to you today, Steve. First off, happy holidays to you and your family. Thank you for calling in. Give me your thoughts on the Jets beating the Browns 23-16. How are you feeling about that, Steve?
Well, first of all, Joe, I'm very, very happy that you wanted to wish me a happy holiday. But I felt really good about that win against the Cleveland Browns. I mean, listen, I know Cleveland had some issues, with the whole thing with the COVID-19 situation. But you know what? It's okay. The Jets went in there. They took care of business. They got the W. But here is the thing. That's just not the only best part about what happened today. The best thing that happened today was reported on the WFAN radio show.
Yeah.
And it was reported that finally Christopher Johnson finally has a brain and realizes that Adam Gase is not the right person for the job.
Yeah.
Listen, he should have been fired during the regular season, but Christopher Johnson gave him chance after chance after chance after chance. And let me tell you something. Having Adam Gase being fired at the end of the season is like 1,000 pounds getting off of Jet fans' back. It's like carrying a big sack of potatoes on your back, and literally it's like, the release is gone.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels so good about it. And before we continue to talk, in the words of Vincent Kennedy McMahon from WWE, Adam Gase, you're fired!
Steve. Listen, Steve is fired up. Listen, I understand it. Adam Gase has definitely, jacked this franchise up. He's made quite a bit of mistakes here, and he's cost us. He's cost us time. He's jacked up our offense. He's, jacked up the progression of Sam Darnold. I'm glad to get him out of here as well. But, Steve, I'm wondering about the next guy that we get in here. I'm wondering about the next head coaching hire, and I'm wondering exactly who the Jets could be looking at. Do you have a guy in your mind that you think would fit, this Jets franchise that could come in here and change it around? Who's the next head coaching hire you'd like to see brought in?
Okay, so that is a great question, Joe. There are so many names that I thought of. And I know a lot of Jets fans are saying Eric Bieniemy because of his style in Kansas City.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something, Joe. There is one person, because I believe that Sam Darnold should still be the quarterback and should still be with us. Oh. There is one person that I think, Joe, that can come in here and do the job right for us.
Right.
He revamped Ryan Tannehill's career, and that is to bring in Arthur Smith from Tennessee. If we bring in a guy like Arthur Smith to this team, I think that should be the guy who Joe Douglas should go after. But if he goes after Eric Bieniemy, I would be happy about it too. But Arthur Smith, to me, is number one. Look at what he did with Ryan Tannehill's career in Tennessee. He completely revamped Tannehill's career. And I think if we have Arthur Smith come here and do that for Sam, we could be in the right direction for the future. I am telling you, Joe, I think Arthur Smith is the right person for the job.
Ooh, you're talking fire. I like that. I like Arthur Smith as well. I'm a guy that likes DeBoe too. I know some people don't like Greg Roman. I'm still, but Bieniemy is definitely my number one. But I do like the other guys that you brought up as well. But let me play devil's advocate a little bit, Steve. What if Smith comes in and says, you know what, I think Sam Darnold is a solid quarterback. I like him. I like some of his skill set, but I'd rather have a guy like Zach Wilson, or I'd rather have Fields, or I'd rather have, another quarterback named in the draft. Does that keep you from hiring Arthur Smith if he's not excited about Sam Darnold?
I mean, it could, but you know something, though? Because I think whoever Joe Douglas, because here's the thing, Joe Douglas is the one that loves Sam. And I think Joe Douglas is going to want to keep Sam. And I think if Arthur Smith does look at Sam Darnold and realize what he went through, like what he saw Ryan Tannehill go through with Miami after Tannehill left Miami, I am telling you, Joe, I think whoever is the guy that does come in, listen, the guy who has to come in as the next head coach, has to come in and get this team in the right direction. It's just that, and I do think that Sam should be here, because the thing is, remember, Sam has never had a good offensive line. He's never had good receivers, and most importantly, he has never had good coaching. Yeah. Sam Darnold needs the right coach for the future. But anyway, I'm going to actually, Joe, introduce you to someone tonight. He's a very, very good friend of mine, also a big New York Jets fan like me. We've known each other for a very, very long time, and we've also have gone to school. This is my friend, Alex Plum. Alex, I'd like you to meet Mr. Long Beach Joe.
Hey, Joe, how you doing?
What's going on, Alex? How are you?
I'm good. How you doing tonight?
I'm all right. Well, Steve has brought you on as well. What are your thoughts about the Jets beating the Browns 23-16, and how do you feel about the reports that Gase is going to get fired?
Well, I mean, I'll say this about the Gase firing. It's been a long time coming as a Jets fan. I can definitely see why Jets fans are ecstatic, like Steve, my friend here, and myself. I'm definitely fired up at the fact that Gase is gone now. It feels like a world has been lifted off Jets fans' shoulders. And as a Jets fan about the win against Cleveland, surprisingly enough, I'm actually happy that they're not going to finish the season 0-16. I'm definitely happy about that. I've also been kind of, I know the fact that I'm being 0-16, but I've been kind of saying, 50-50 about it, honestly. But I'm definitely happy that they're hopefully turning a step in the right direction for 2021, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. How are you feeling about Sam Darnold? What are your thoughts about him going into this offseason?
Well, I really want Sam Darnold to succeed, believe me. I really do. Because, listen, all the talk about Trevor Lawrence and stuff like that is great. But here's the thing. I do see where Trey's coming from with the offensive line stuff and everything. My dad, who's also a big Jets fan, we live in Westchester County, New York, he's made an interesting point to me saying, even if we were to draft Trevor Lawrence with the number 1 pick, he probably would have the same problems that Sam Darnold would have right now with no offensive line. Let's put it this way. Any NFL team is as good as our offensive line. Meaning, like, if you have a good quarterback, you need a time in the pocket and stuff like that to throw the football or hand it up to your running back or whatever, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You need offensive line to get that done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I completely agree with you. Listen, I want to thank both of you for calling in. I got to get back to these lines. Steve, salute to you as well as your friend. Thank you for having him come in. Listen, you folks have a happy holidays. Go ahead.
Listen, before you let me go, Joe, I just got one thing to tell you. When those news reports came out, how did you feel when those news reports came out? You had to be the happiest Jets fan on earth, like a fat kid getting cake, right?
Listen, I saw them and I said, okay, I was happy, but I'm waiting until it actually happens, okay? Because to me, the writing was on the wall. To me, in my mind, I figured weeks ago that there was no way he'd be able to save his job at all, especially with some of the losses that we suffered. But let me tell you something. I'm waiting for it to happen, but I'm really worried about the next guy. That's where my mind immediately went to. Okay, who are we bringing in here next? Who can we bring in to come and resurrect this franchise, to turn us around and get us back in the right direction? So that's what I'm worried about, and we'll continue to talk about that on my show as well. But again, Steve, I want to thank you for calling in. You and your friend have a happy holidays. Your families have a happy holidays as well to you. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too, man. Bye-bye.
All right, bye. Well, listen, Steve calling in with the fire, okay? Steve don't play no games. And he had a friend, too. His friend called in and brought some fire as well. I respect that. So I'm going to get to the callers. 914, you're going to be up next. I'm coming directly to you. And then 917, my guy. I think it's my guy, Venom G's. We're going to talk to him tonight as well. I'm going to go to the chat really quickly, though. I'm going to get to these savages in the chat. These savages. They're going crazy. Jerry Johnson in the chat. Salute to you, Jerry Johnson. Jerry Johnson says, Mayfield had a taste of Sam's entire career Sunday. A good QB looks trash without receivers. That's a fact. That is a fact. Okay? My guy Jerry coming in with facts. All right? I tell people all the time, okay, you want to compare Sam Darnold and, well, he hasn't ascended, Joe. He hasn't gotten better. Well, this has happened. He hasn't had, he doesn't throw for 350 yards a game. And yeah, because he's got one of the worst offensive rosters in the league. You'd look like that too if your offensive line was like 32nd in the league every year. You'd look like that as well. You know what I mean? If you only had a good left tackle and everything else was not that good, you'd look bad. And another thing, and I don't want to get too far ahead while I talk about offensive linemen, I'm very confused with why some Jets fans, I said some, I'm very confused why some Jets fans are against the Jets getting offensive line help in the first round. I'm very confused about that. I have no clue why people keep hitting me on my timeline or anything saying, oh, no, the Jets don't need to do that. We don't need to take an offensive lineman in the first round. Have you seen the Jets offensive line? Have you? All right. You see my eye right here. I barely can see my damn self. I know they're bad. They're terrible. They're terrible. Everyone outside of Becton has been so up and down, and let's not even talk about the injuries that we've suffered along our offensive line as well. Some of these guys have barely played. Come on, man. Let's get it together. The Jets should absolutely be looking for offensive line help in the first. Whether you take it at 2, because, again, we're locked in with the second pick, or you trade down and take it in, later on in the first round. Like, come on. You got to get it together. I'm going to get back to these callers, though. Salute to everybody in the chat. I will come to you. If you're in the chat talking, we're going to talk. Salute to all the savages. Salute to Dudson in the chat as well. He says, let's hope that Sam is not completely ruined. I hear you, my friend. I hope he isn't either. But I think if you get the right coach in here and turn it around, we can happen. Before I get to the callers, I want to make a really good point. If you watch any Bills game, the first thing they start talking about is how improved Josh Allen's mechanics are and how he feels so confident that he can make plays and throws now that he goes out there and does his thing. And the first thing they start talking about is the coaching. That's the first thing they talk about. If you look at Josh Allen pre-draft, one of the things, he was one of the biggest boomer bust in that draft because people were so concerned about his accuracy and his lack of mechanics, right? If a quarterback coach or offensive staff can come in and help Josh Allen turn his mechanics around and fix what's going on with him and make him become a thrower, because that's what he is now. Before he was a running back that could chuck the ball. Now he's actually throwing the football accurately. Then why can't that be done for Sam Darnold? Why can't we get the right coaching staff and the right coaching hire to come in here and help him turn things around, especially when he's being protected and given weapons? Why can't that happen? Why? I don't understand it. And if you don't think that can happen,
You're smoking crack. Stop.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to get back to these callers. 914, I'm coming directly to you. 914, I want you to talk to me about the Jets beating the Browns 23-16. And how do you feel about Gaze, the rumors that are flying around, reports that he's going to be fired at the end of the season?
Well, the thing is, Matt, it's never a matter of if, but when. And the Browns thing, it's all right. Look, you can only take it with a grain of salt because it's the conditions and the factors and variables. The fact that they're missing their receiving core, which means they're forced to throw to their tight ends. So as long as you can stop the run and just mark that and keep the tight ends covered, they can't trust their receivers. So it's hard to judge them on the performance.
Yeah. Well, I hear you there. They weren't impacted by, the roll in the list, but we did stop their running game as well. Yeah, Chubb and Hunt, those guys are phenomenal. I mean, what are your thoughts about our defensive line, our defensive front, really getting after it, stopping the run, and also rushing the passer?
Defensive line is the one thing on this team that should be just set in stone. Those guys are good. They've proven it. Last 2 years they've been one of the league's best run stuffers. That's a given. Of course they've had their hiccups, 49ers, but they've been for the most part very good at that.
Okay. What are your thoughts about the rumors? That Gaze is going to be fired at the end of the season. How do you feel about that?
Well, I saw the rumors probably around last night when I first saw some Jets YouTubers posting it, and I found the link that they were talking about. Mm-hmm. And I also saw Connor Hughes talk about it. And it's good, the important thing is about these rumors is that not only is Gaze getting fired, we knew that, but the fact that Joe Douglas is running the search, he will have final say on the search, and the head coach will be deciding the quarterback decision. Will be deciding who will be the quarterback going forward. Which are all three good check marks forward. Because look, you don't want the Johnsons meddling. You don't want them to bring in their guy, and you don't want them to try to force a decision onto a coach he's not comfortable with. Mm-hmm. So the fact that none of those are in play, you feel a lot more comfortable. You're like, okay, we're making sure that we're doing our best to avoid another Adam Gase-like scenario.
Yep.
So I feel confident in that.
Yeah, yeah. So when
look,
you look
as much as people do want to keep Sam Darnold, as some people do, that's got to be the coach's call. That's the call of the coach. Whoever that person may be, that is their decision to make. Whether we like it or not, that's their call, and you have to respect that.
Yeah. I mean, you do. You definitely have to respect that. But when you look at this situation, if we've also heard from Joe Douglas in the past that he, basically kind of as well came here to work with Sam Darnold, that he was excited about Sam and what he was doing. So I understand it's the coach's call, but say you have a top guy that comes in and you like him a lot, but the visions don't align with what Joe Douglas kind of wants to do as far as building around Sam. If he still wants to stick with Sam, and put weapons around him, and the coach is kind of like, I'd rather take Fields or something. Do you think we'd pass on a top coaching candidate because they want to stick with Sam?
I don't think you can afford to pass on a top coaching candidate because, that's like you can't force it. Like I said, you can't force a decision on them that they don't want, because that's what got you Gase in the first place. It's not the same exact thing, but the principles are the same. It's the same principles that you don't want. You want them to work with something they don't want to work with, and then you're forced to settle for a guy who's willing to do what that is, and they may not be the best option.
Okay. Yeah.
And the last thing this team needs is to be set back.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you think we land on a list of available coaching spots right now? Where do you think we're ranked on that list?
That's tricky. Obviously, Jacksonville's number one. The Chargers are probably number two. It's a toss-up between us and Houston. Houston does have Deshaun Watson, but outside of that, there's nothing really there to appealing. They don't have the draft capital. They don't have the cap space. All their money's tied into aging veterans who are really not contributing to the level of their pay. So, I mean, it's really hard. Then you also have the Falcons, but they should probably blow it up. And then you've got the Lions, who are Detroit, so it's really hard. I'd put us somewhere. I don't put us at the bottom, but I'd say we're out of the top, just outside the top 3, 4, or 5.
So who do you have ranked ahead of us?
Well, of course you got Jacksonville. They got the first overall pick. They have more cap space than us, and they also have just as much draft capital as us.
But they have really bad ownership too. They have very dysfunctional ownership. Don't you think that factors into that?
Yeah, but like I said, look, but the thing is, when it comes to ownership, as long as they don't interfere, it's not a problem.
Okay.
As long as they're just sitting on the sideline and signing checks and watching the game, then they're not a problem.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, I got the Chargers because you got Herbert there. I mean, they have the talent. The problem is the special teams. I've told a couple Chargers fans that I've said this to, that if the Jets clean house with their coaching staff, you guys should definitely look to new coach should probably definitely look to hire Brant Boyer.
And so after
the guys I'm looking at at coaches are really like out of Iowa State, Matt Campbell.
Okay.
Because he's kind of like he's kind of very similar to Matt Rule in that he can turn the bad program around, and I think the Jets need that executive type of head coach.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like to, I know a lot of people have talked about Campbell as well. In the past, we've definitely discussed it. I'd like a coordinator that's kind of already in the league right now. That's why I'm big on Arthur Smith and DeBoll and Bieniemy and even, Roman as well. But I do respect people that want Campbell. There's also some other college coaches as well that people are looking to bring in as well. So, I respect those takes. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I can't wait for next year so much. So I live right next to where the Jets' old training facility was in Peekskill. I am the moment that I can, I'm going to bury the moment the season's over, I'm burying a vintage Super Bowl III Joe Namath card there for good luck.
Oh, I mean, I would keep that card if I was you. If it's vintage, it's,
I'll get a second one. It is from the 90s, so it's not that vintage.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again for calling in. It was phenomenal to speak with you. Next time I have a show, please call in. You know your stuff, man. Happy holidays to you and your family. You have a good night.
All right. Happy holidays to you, too.
All right. Good one.
Bye.
Oh, man, what a call. People are definitely, spitting their takes, and they want to talk, especially about Gase being fired. That guy's, there's a lot of reports he's up out of here, okay? Some people are confirming it, that he's going to be gone after the season. There's going to be a lot to talk about, particularly when you look at the situation and search that we have. Because, again, the head coach, he's going to be our next leader. He's going to be the guy to push this thing forward. We got to figure it out. So I'm going to keep going to the callers. 917, I'm coming to you. Then we're going to go 919 and then 917 again. So we're coming to Venom G's first. I think this is Venom G's, my guy on the line. Venom, how's everything how's everything going with you? What are your thoughts about the Jets beating the Browns, and how do you feel about the reports that Gase is going to be fired at the end of this season?
Yo, I'm happy that Gase is going to be fired, man. I can't, but I know it's a process, so I gotta believe that Joe Douglas and stick with the process. I know they're gonna do the right thing since it's in his hands right now.
Yep.
So I feel good about that. The game, oh man, it was good just to see them put effort forth. And I know one guy you keep missing out is Basham, man. That guy put on film every week. Basham is doing his thing week in and week out. I think without him on a couple plays, we would have probably not beat them. So I know he created that fumble on Baker on that fourth down play. So he's been playing big. Franklin Myers been playing big. Shepard's been playing big. So I think they got some building blocks to work with, man.
Yeah, they do. I liked like you said, a lot of the guys you brought up, Basham, Nathan Shepard, Fadu Kasi, who I thought is a guy that we can move forward with too. Yeah. John Franklin Myers, a guy that's putting on that defensive front is solid, man. We got some guys. All we need to do is find like a legitimate pass rusher, and that will literally just set things really on fire. And again, and something that you didn't bring up as well is Quentin Williams wasn't even playing. So can you imagine the disruption that we could cause with him? Yeah. So I think our defense, the front is looking solid. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got one issue though with the whole game plan. How do we have this rookie Mims and not get him no targets?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with Mims. I don't know if they're putting the coverage on him, but this guy hasn't. I don't know. I want to see more from him. I know he's legit, but I just don't see enough of him. I don't know if they have that much faith in him or what, but I just want to see more of Mims, and some of these younger guys. Even, I got to see Zuniga a little bit this week as well too. So that was a good eye opener as well.
Yeah. With the situation with Mims, like you said, it's been pretty frustrating when you look at everything that's just been going on, man. Because we talk about it on a weekly basis how we need to see him more. We need to see more targets being given to him. We need to see, more things going his way. Because again, when we've given him the football and got into his hands, he's been a playmaker, and we've been excited about it. And especially when you're looking at where we're at right now. We're in a full-blown rebuild. We should be trying to figure out what these young guys can do with the football in their hands. And we just haven't just been talking about him. I've been talking about our young running backs too. Ty Johnson, Josh Adams, P. Ryan Play. We've been talking about these guys because we've seen sparks. We've seen things here and there, but it hasn't been consistent because of the offensive game plan and the way that things have gone. And one of the guys, because I want to get to this, the guy, that has kind of caused these issues with his offensive game plan is Adam Gase. Now the reports are flying around. They haven't been confirmed yet, but the reports are flying around that he's going to be fired, at the end of the season. What are your thoughts on that, Venom? And, who do you think that we should bring in after him?
I like the guy from Kansas City, Benami, and I like the guy who I really want is the guy from Buffalo. So I really like him a lot since I think he grew Allen all the way to where he's at. I think since he had Allen since he was a rookie to for the whole duration, I think we should do the same thing, and hopefully he could progress with Sam the same way as well. So I think it's somebody that needs to be working with a quarterback and has proven that. And I heard somebody talk about the guy from Tennessee.
Arthur Smith.
I think Tennessee has a lot. Yeah, he has so many. Tennessee was already a building block already. They had their offensive line. They run heavy. They've progressed so much. All you had to do was just place Ryan Tannehill in there because they had Marcus Mariota. It was already structured already, where it's just missing that one quarterback. This Jets team isn't like that. So you're going to have to develop. You're going to have, like you were saying, you're going to have to develop that O-line. You're going to have to draft somebody on that O-line in the first round.
Yeah.
You know, any which way you look at it, you're going to have to get solid there because you can't keep going through free agents and then rebuilding that same O-line year in and year out.
Yeah, I mean, you're bringing absolute facts to the table. And this is my final question for you, Venom, before I let you go. When you look at this situation, I know you talked about a guy that you think that Sam should be the guy moving forward. I'm going to play devil's advocate. If the guy that we have coming in, like say DeBoer, like the guy you want, comes in and says, you know, I think Sam's a solid guy, but he's not the guy that I want, you know, quarterback in my football team. I want to move on from him. Do you think that'll push him down your list to become the next head coach? And do you think that the Jets would still be able to make a move, you know, and bring him in anyway? Where do you think that puts, you know, some of the head coaching candidates if they don't want to deal with Sam Darnold? What if they want to move on and get their own guy? What do you think happens there?
I think the consensus around the NFL is that Sam is a good quarterback. I think the position he's been put in and the lack of talent around him, that's the issue. But even if they wanted to move away from him, it's just setting everything back even more. Instead of, you know, you have the player at a quarterback already, and now all you have to do is build around that. Like, I think we had this discussion before where you just say, okay, let's give Sam a year, build these things around him, and if he doesn't work out, now you can look into a quarterback the next following year instead of, you know, doing that this year right now while you have him under contract. So I don't see the reason to move away. But if they wanted to do that, you know, I don't know why they would, but, you know, crazy things have happened being a Jets fan, so you know how things go.
Yeah.
So, you know, even if they wanted to do that, I think they have abundance of picks to work with, so they can do that as well.
Yeah. Okay. I just got to know. Listen, Venom, thank you for calling in tonight. Happy holidays to you and your family. I'm going to keep going to these lines, man. You have a good night.
All right, you too, brother. Have a good Happy New Year and everything. All
right, same to you. You have a good one. Whew, man, Venom G's calling in with the fire, okay? Calling in with the fire, man. So, Venom G's calling in, all right? He had a lot of great takes. There's some guys that he wants that's on the line, man. A lot of head coaching candidates out there. A lot of guys that could be looking in, you know, for the Jets to bring in. I'm excited. I'm excited about the future. With these reports flying that Gase is out of here. A lot of people hit me up constantly, very afraid that Gase is going to be here, you know, next year or maybe even 2 years, you know, that they would, you know, have him still here for 2 more years, but he's gone. Said and done. He, you know, according to reports, you're flying around that he's out of here, you know. So I'm going to keep getting to these callers. Next up, caller that I'm having coming on. Listen, I want to thank you for coming on. Happy holidays to you and your family. Listen, I want to get your thoughts on the Jets beating the Browns 23-16, and how do you feel about the reports flying about Adam Gase being fired after the end of the season?
Hello?
Yeah, hello. I can hear you.
Hey, man. How you doing? Love the show. This is Mike from Bayshore.
Oh, thank you so much.
We were out of the Trevor, you know, sweepstakes, but you know what? If these guys are going to play hard for the next 2 weeks, I'm all for it. So, yeah, we got to move on for it. And you know what? Two Mondays in a row, I feel happy going into work. So not so bad.
That's what I'm talking about.
And if they beat the Patriots, it's the icing on the cake. You know, we got to have some type of happiness. As far as Adam Gase, good riddance. He should have never been hired in the first place. We had Matt Rule on a silver platter. Okay, we had Matt Rule on a silver platter. Okay, I know a guy that knows a guy that's tight with Matt Rule. You're not going to believe this, but Matt Rule you're not going to believe this. Matt Rule was a born Jets fan and a Mets fan, a Knicks fan, and an Islanders fan.
Whoa.
I mean, you had a
Go ahead.
You had a passionate coach.
Yeah.
I want a passionate coach to come in and take this job, because we all know Urban Meyer, like he's a genius. He just takes the best opportunity, okay? And you look at it from a business angle, he's going to take those people in Gainesville all to Jacksonville, which is, not far away.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also going to, bring the revenue into London. And if you ever been to a game in Jacksonville, they're the most friendliest drunken fans you ever met in your life. They don't know what the hell's going on. And it's the truth. I mean, if you've been down there, man, they are just so damn happy. That's why they got a damn pool there. They don't know what the hell's going on. But you know what? I don't hate on them. Good for them.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, look, first.
Now going back.
Hold on a second, Mike. You're bringing a fire
sorry,
right
man.
now. Listen, I hear
Sorry,
you.
man.
I'm looking at the situation the same way. And again, I want to thank you for calling in and thank you for watching and listening to my content. But at the end of the day, like you said, Gay's being gone. Now it's time for us to get to the next guy, to get to the right guy. And like you said, bringing in a passionate guy, a leader, a guy that knows what he's doing, a guy that's going to continue to move this franchise forward. That's what we need to be doing. That's what we need to concentrate on, because we could talk about players and all this thing, but I'm telling you, one of the biggest decisions that the Jets have going forward is figuring out the next head coach, getting the right position in here, because we saw what happened when you brought a great example up, Matt Rule. We tried to force picking his coordinators, all that stuff on him. He was not having it. He walked away from us because of that. We need to make sure we get the right guy in here that understands the situation that we're in and understands how to motivate players and also utilize their skill sets. I think that's going to be very huge. And so, Mike, my question for you is, who are some of the guys that you like? Who are some of the guys that you look at that you think would be perfect to bring in to this Jets facility to turn us around?
I tell you, man, the right guy for this job, no disrespect to Rex Ryan, but, I mean, I would love to have a coach like Herm Edwards, man. And that guy would probably, in my eyes, as of right now, that would probably be up for this challenge would be Coach Fitzgerald. I think Fitzgerald, took the challenge in Northwestern and looked what he did.
Okay.
As far as Campbell, I would love to have him as well. See, the reason why I'm saying that is that when you get a guy that's been in the big seat, okay, he has driven the ship. He has been the captain, okay? There's one voice throughout that whole team. Okay, nothing to, listen, the enemy, my feeling he's going to go to the Texans Houstons. I think Campbell is not going to take an NFL job yet. I think he's going to take Michigan when Harbaugh leaves. I think Harbaugh is probably going to go to Detroit. Yeah, I think Fitzgerald would be the guy. I think he, but let me add this as well. Keep an eye on Philadelphia. There's a lot of rumors coming out.
Oh, yes.
They're going to fire Peterson.
Yep.
And, they're going to make the same mistake they did with Andy Reid. Brought in Chip Kelly, and it all went to hell. Look at Andy Reid right now. And let me tell you, I would love a coach with a chip on his shoulder that already has the Super Bowl ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, look, I hear you. And like you brought up as well, that there's a lot of rumors, that people are talking about with the Eagles that this could be, the end for Peterson. And I'd welcome him with open arms. If he was the next.
Amen, brother.
Oh,
Amen,
man. If he was
brother.
the next head coach here, I would welcome him with open arms. I understand things don't work out in other places, but they might work out here. They might work out here. And I'd be, pretty excited about that. But even with that said, I got my next question for you is, when you look at these head coaching opportunities that are open around here, where do you rank us? Because a lot of people look at the situation and go, hey, the Jets, yeah, they got some cap room. Yeah, we got some picks. But, I mean, are we as attractive as the Chargers? Look at the Jaguars. They have cap. They have picks as well. They we're locked into the number 2. So now they got the number 1. They could end up with Trevor. They're going to end up with Trevor Lawrence. The Lions have Stafford. The Texans have Watson. The Falcons, they're an organization that's won. But, where do we rank in that? We're just the Jets. How do you feel about that? And where do you think that we rank, man?
That's such a great question, man, because, like you said, obviously Jacksonville has the number 1 pick and the number 1 cap space, and then it's everybody else. You look at Atlanta Falcons, let me tell you, those people in Atlanta, man, in the ATL, man, they love their Falcons.
Man,
and Arthur
let me tell
Blank
you.
is a pleasure to work for.
Yep.
You know, they're like, let me tell you, man, don't sleep on that job because, and they're looking to move on from Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, and that might also be tempting to give you some cap space. You know, Detroit, new ownership there. And again, you look at the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers, that's a great job. But Joe D is going to be doing the hire, and thank you, God. Thank you, God. And Chris Johnson's going to sit there and shut his mouth, which he should have done 2 years ago.
Yep.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And whoever that coach is, man, let me tell you, man, there's a lot of free agents out there. You know, you can't go too much in the free agency because you don't build a team like that. We are absolutely rebuild mode.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we. Oh, 1 second, folks. Blog Talk again tripping. Hold on. 1 second. I apologize, folks. Blog Talk just keeps tripping, but we're gonna keep going. I apologize to the last caller. I know it dropped and my system crashed here. Blog Talk yet again can't handle. Again, if the last caller can call back in, you know, I'd love to speak to him again. But we're gonna keep going. I was actually able to recover a caller. We're gonna get to him. Mikey, my guy, Mikey. If you are on the line, if you can hear me, please. You know, give me your thoughts about the Jets beating the Browns 23-16, and how do you feel about the rumors that Adam Gase is going to be fired?
Hey Joe, what's going on, man? Before I answer your question, I kind of got to correct you. My name's Mickey, not Mikey.
Oh, I apologize, Mickey. My bad. I apologize,
No problem.
Mickey.
My
How
friend
do you feel about the Jets beating the
Mikey?
Browns 23-16, and the rumors that Gase is going to be fired?
Honestly, I think the Jets beating the Browns was great. I know a lot of people want the team to tank, but we're a professional football team. I mean, I don't understand how you would want a team that you've supported for so long and spent so much money on their merchandise to actively lose games. It doesn't really make sense. I'm glad that they didn't go 0-16. I mean, that's a smudge in the permanent record that never goes away.
Yeah.
I would have been happy with one win, but they're winning two. So, I mean, wow. Awesome. Great. I mean, we're paying them back for ending their losing streak like 2 years ago when they got their first win against us, when they got Baker Mayfield. So, you know, revenge is sweet.
Yeah, it is. What are your thoughts about our defensive line? Our defensive line played extremely well in this game. Basham got after it. Nathan Shepard, Fatukasi. I mean, those guys look phenomenal, don't they?
I mean, it's good to see the defense just come alive once Greg Williams was canned, I guess. I mean, you see so much potential in the defense that just wasn't there in the first half of the season. It was almost like watching, maybe not watching a different team, but it was really, you know, refreshing to see everyone just so full of like, you know, we actually want to win this game. Like, we're not here for the tank. You know, it actually makes me feel like, wow, we actually kind of did draft some players. You know, no one's phoning it in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, guys are getting after it, man. And again, when you're in a rebuild, the situation like we're in, you want to make sure that you can get guys that you can build with. And these guys look like guys that we can really move forward. John Franklin Myers, again, Fatukasi, Nathan Shepard, bash them. These look like guys that, we can really go forward with, and they're going to give us some push in the future. And I think the only thing that we need is like a real solidified pass rusher. We need to get one of those guys in the draft that we can just, let wreak havoc. And again, we did all of this stuff, all the pressure and, getting after Baker and forcing him to turnovers. We did that without Quinnen Williams. He did not play because he's on IR dealing with those neck injuries and that concussion as well. So I'm excited about this. What are your thoughts about Sam, man? How are you feeling about his performance, and where are you kind of at with him? Because I know some people are looking at him and saying, I'm ready to move on. Some people are looking at him and saying, I think we should give him another shot. How do you feel about him?
I mean, to answer that, I just go back to the history books. I'll go back to the library and put on like a monocle or whatever. And I'll just do history on the draft. And like history shows that drafting a quarterback first overall is not always the quick fix for your franchise. It's actually kind of rare that you draft a guy first overall and then the next 2 or 3 years you're in the playoff picture. I think the last time I remember a team drafting a quarterback was maybe Patrick Mahomes, but they traded up for him.
Yeah.
They were a playoff team a few years before they even drafted him. So I don't think Trevor Lawrence was going to be too much of a game-changer draft him in and getting Sam out of here if we still have the problems that Sam is dealing with. I think Sam is a very capable quarterback. He just hasn't had a lot of support around him, and it doesn't really make sense for us to get rid of him and just put another guy into the same situation that he's in.
Yeah.
I think Sam, since the firing of Greg Williams, he's shown that, hey, everyone's starting to kind of count me out. I feel like he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He's like, hey, I was the man in South California, man. Like they were ready to put a statue up of me.
Absolutely,
right?
at USC.
Like,
yep.
The best Sam Darnold yet.
Yeah. You speaking facts.
So, I'm a big Sam supporter, man.
Yeah, and so am I. But I'm fair with my takes, especially when I deal with him. I don't like people calling me a homer. I don't like doing that. I'm a SC fan as well. Everyone knows that Trojan. What I'm saying, fight on. But it is what it is, and I agree with a lot of your takes there. I don't think he's been given a fair chance. I do think that if you get the right head coach in here, that you'll see his play ascend as well. But we got to get the right guy, and that leads me to my next question for you: is with the rumors swirling around that Gase, is going to be gone at the end of this season, what is a guy that you are looking to get in here? Do you have a head coach in your mind that you feel would be the right fit for the New York Jets?
Well, as far as everyone talking about the rumors and the dirt sheet saying that Adam Gase is going to get fired, one of my friends, Mark, just texted me today. He's like, Adam Gase is fired. And then I went online and it's like, no, he's still the head coach. If you've ever been in a toxic relationship ever in your life, it's not over until it's over. So once he gets his pink slip, once he's actually out of the building, security carries him out, cleans out his office and everything, then I will accept the fact that he's not going to be the Jets head coach. I'm still in the mindset they're still probably going to bring him back because there's something going on in this franchise, and it's weird. But hypothetically speaking, so I'm not a complete pessimist.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really believe that we were going to get Matt Rule. I mean, I thought it was cool that he grew up as like a local sports team fan.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you look at what happened with the Browns, ironically, I think Rod Chudinsky, whatever his last name was, he was a homemade Browns fan, and they still fired him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not enough just to be a fan of the franchise and everything. You have to have all the tools or whatever. So, for me personally, I want a guy that's I don't remember which one it is. Either John or Jim. It was the one that was on Saved by the Bell, but the Harbaugh that's currly coaching Michigan.
Okay.
I think it's Jim. That's Jim.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh.
All right. To me personally, either him or Eric Bieniemy. But I think Harbaugh, he really had a no-nonsense kind of approach to the game in San Francisco, and they had great, success over there.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't an ego thing between him and their general manager.
Yeah.
The guy does know how to win. I don't know what's going on with him in college, but I think he's the kind of like stern, no-nonsense quarterback that's going to come into our locker room that's kind of undisciplined to be like, hey, listen, I know how to win, and I know how to get you guys to know how to win. You just need to do your part, and I'm not here to joke around.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are talking about Harbaugh as well. Yeah. Like you just brought up, I know that there's some people that, want him brought in here too. There was a lot of rumors swirling that the Jets would be interested in him. A lot of stuff swirling around. So yeah, I hear your take there, and I could agree with that. But when you look at this situation with the Jets right now, we're getting rid of Adam Gase. If the reports are true, like you said, it's not over till it's over. I'm with you there. So I've talked to people. I'm not, I want Gase gone, damn near more than anybody. But I'm still waiting and seeing, just like you. I'm not going to buy in just yet. But when you look at this situation, where do we rank, dude, on like the list of openings? Because the Chargers are out there, the Jags are out there, the Lions, the Texans, the Falcons. I mean, what makes us so attractive amongst those groups?
I mean, there's always going to be more attractive offers out there. The Jets we're like a medium ugly franchise. We're not the stud in high school. We don't get all the girls or whatever. That's always how it's been. And hearing people complain about that it's kind of weird because it's never been really attractive traditionally. The Jags, the Cons, they've let it be known that like winning is number one. That's what they care about. A lot of these teams, Arthur Blank in Atlanta, he's like, listen, if I even think that you can't do your job, I'm gonna hire you and then fire you the same day. Win it. Yeah. Like there's franchises that let people know specifically. They'll wear a T-shirt. They're just like, we want to win. And the Jets kind of haven't been that team since maybe before I could walk or something like that. I don't know. But I don't think that our job is as horrible as humanly possible. I mean, I still think the Browns, the Lions, two teams that actually did go winless. Yeah, winless in a season. Before Tom Brady, the Bucks were still kind of weird. Like, I don't think we're as bad as, everyone's been punching down on us and everything. I just think it's just a matter of, our owners and, the executives really making it known to whoever they sit down with that, hey, we've heard all the rumors. We heard everything everyone's been saying about us around the league. Are you the guy that's going to turn the ship around? Because we believe in you and we believe in what you can do. Unless, like the Johnsons, remember that they own a football team and can have that conversation with a coach and let him believe that that's what they want to do, we're going to be in the top 5 for the next couple of decades.
Yeah. You're bringing straight facts. I think it's really important, and it's great that, even some of the reports that are coming out that Joe Douglas is going to be fully in charge of the next, head coaching search, that he's going to be able to run it, because how many times have we done this where we've, paired a GM with a coach or paired a coach with a GM and these things don't work out. You have to allow a GM to pick his head coach. We have to get our reporting structure together as well. I believe that the coach should report to the GM and the GM should report to the owners. That's how I think it should go. I think revolutionizing that.
That's too logical.
It's too much like right, huh? We can't do that. Do that.
We're the Grey's Anatomy of the NFL. Like, people are here one day, they're gone the next. People are going to the parking lot, they're never coming back.
We've got to get that together. Until we get our structure together, we're going to continue to have issues. But it's great to hear. Again, these are just reports. It's great to hear that the reports are saying that Joe Douglas is going to be in charge. He's going to be making the decisions, and we're going to get, the guy that he wants in here that's going to see his vision. I think that's extremely important, because when you have dysfunction in your front office, you'll see dysfunction elsewhere too. And we've seen that. We saw it, right when we hired Adam Gase. Immediately, there was issues with him and Mac. Mac ended up getting fired. We gave him a free agency and a draft. It was terrible. It was just bad. But
it was hilarious.
It was pretty ridiculous. But Mickey, listen, I gotta get back to these calls. I want to thank you for calling in, my friend. It's always good to hear from you. Happy holidays to you and your family, and I want you to have a good night, man.
Happy holidays, man. Take it easy. Happy New Year.
All right, you have a good one. Happy New Year's to you as well. Oh, man. Mickey calling in with the fire. Listen, the Jets, we've got to get it together. We got to get it together. I'm going to get back to the caller. The caller that I missed, I know you're on the line. I'm coming directly back to you. Gotta go to the Savages really quickly. Salute to everybody. Val Outlaw says too much heat from Blog Talk. Facts. Yo, bro, we talk about Blog Talk. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Blog Talk be hating. You can't hate. It's too much. It is what it is. They can't stand what I'm doing. You know, they can't stand it. They can't stand the heat from the callers. They're bringing the fire. You know, boo Blog Talk, man. You gotta boo Blog Talk. You guys aren't getting it done. You know what I'm saying? But we'll keep on working. You know, we'll keep it going. There's nothing that can stop the Blog Talk. The hating for Blog Talk can't stop me. The Sty can't stop me. Nothing can stop me. Nothing. We're gonna keep on going. We're Jets fans. We don't have another choice. Sadly, we don't have another choice. Portway in the chat. Salute to you, Portway. Portway says if you curse on Joe's show, he would get you out of here faster than Blog Talk crashes and drops great callers. That's a fact. That's a fact. Okay? That's a fact. Blog Talk be tripping, man. But we're going to get back to these lines. We're going to get back to these callers. Mike from Bay Shore. I know you're back on, Mike. You were bringing a great point about where we...
Joe, what's up, player?
What's going on, man? Give me your thoughts again about where we land, you know, in these group of teams that have head coaching openings. I apologize. Blog Talk is tripping. You're a heck of a caller. Go ahead, man.
Well, you know what? Like I said, you know, obviously Jacksonville's going to be number one. And Atlanta, I would say number two due to the ownership. And again, you know, just as much as the Chargers are an attractive job, they don't have a great owner as well. You know, you go back in the day, they fired Andy Schottenheimer and they traded Drew Brees.
Yeah.
So you got to look at that as well. So keep that in mind. And the thing is, though, if they know that Joe D is making the hire and they trust in Joe. Joe is a meat and potatoes guy. I firmly believe we keep Sam Darnold because if you really look at it, if you looked at it like from this standpoint, okay, if without Trevor Lawrence, if Sam Darnold was in this draft, okay, with Fields, Green, the kid from North Dakota,
yeah,
Sam Darnold would still be the top pick.
Yeah.
And he's still, you know, people forget he's only 23, Maron. He's only 23. Build around this kid.
Yeah.
Get a stud. Do what you can in free agency. Don't break the bank. Don't do a McCagden. Do what you can. Maybe get a Judon. You know, maybe get a Galladay. That would be great.
Cool.
And also, man, if we trade out of that number 2 pick, man, I would love for once, and I get it, we go offensive line, pass rusher, receiver. But, man, can you imagine if we had a Najee Harris in the backfield?
Oh, boy.
I mean, that kid's a beast.
Man.
And then on third down, slide in Piron and draft Chuba Hubbard from Oklahoma State. I mean, can you just imagine that?
I don't want, you know.
I mean, there is so much. Go ahead.
No, you're bringing facts. I'm big on. I understand people want Harris. Man, he's phenomenal. But I look at the situation. I don't want to go too far into the draft because we still got a lot of stuff coming up. But I look at it like I think our first couple rounds we need to address wideout. Offensive line. I think we need some guards, and if you can get a right tackle in here, I would still do that, particularly after trading down as well too. So I'm looking at wideout, offensive lineman. Hell, I would even go pass rusher. I'm a guy that looks at running backs, and I say maybe I don't know if Najee's going to be there in the third round, but if he is, maybe third round down, because I still think you can find talented running backs in those rounds. So I wouldn't necessarily take running back before I addressed other things, but Najee's one hell of a talent, though. He is one hell of a talent, and I'm not taking anything away from him. I just think we need so much at so many other positions that I don't think we should look at running back before some of the other issues that we have to address.
No, that's a valid point, and I agree with you. But let me tell you, man, I can't remember the last time we had a stud that we drafted at running back.
Yeah.
You know, nothing against Piron.
Yeah.
I love Piron. We had Sean Green, but he ran like Stevie Wonder. I mean, he was all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
Look,
he was a lineman's nightmare.
He was
a lineman's nightmare.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Lamar Jordan.
Go ahead.
You know, we Lamar Jordan left us for the Raiders.
He did.
So it's like we can't get a break here. I tell you, brother. I tell you, man.
I mean, there's a lot to address. Yeah, there's a lot to address, and we'll definitely attack that with the draft coming up. We have, ran like Stevie, we got so much coming up, and we got capital. And I think what a lot of people continue to forget, some Jets fans continue to forget, we have 2 first-round picks. Everyone's just talking about that number 2, but let me tell you something. That's that first-round pick we got from the Seahawks. Woo, we could really gain some solid capital from there, and it's particularly in that bottom of that first round, top of that second. Oh boy, because let me tell you, look, no, everyone knows that I wanted CeeDee Lamb, who fell. I think he was like 17, right? Everyone knows I loved him. He fell to 17.
Yeah.
There's this dude named Tony Jefferson. I don't know if y'all know about him, but I did, and he is tearing up the league right now. And they got him in the bottom of the first round. Mike Pittman out there with the Colts playing well. They got him in the top of the second. There's so much value that can be found in that bottom of that first, top of that second, and particularly if we trade down and continue to gain capital, man, we could really clean up from that pick too. So I think people need to start, really thinking about those things as well. But my last question before I let you go, you talked about where we ranked. I know you're a big Sam Darnold guy. You want to keep him around. Are you concerned that some of the top head coaching candidates won't want to, work with Sam Darnold, so you may miss out on some of them? Because there's a lot of people that give pushback about that too, that, hey, if we keep Sam, some of the head coaching candidates may not want to keep him. That may, keep us out of being able to hire those guys. Are you concerned about that as well?
No, I'm not concerned in that because, like an Urban Meyer is going to take the easy way out. The right coach is going to look at this as a challenge. No. He's going to look at this as a challenge. I'm going to fix this. And he's going to talk to Joe, and Joe's going to talk to the owners. It ain't going to be this wish-wash, miscommunication, already set up for backstabbing. Okay? There's going to be a chain of command, and it's going to be one way.
Yeah.
And it's going to take that coach, and like I said earlier, it's going to take that coach that has been a head coach. And nothing against these offensive coordinators that come in here, but it's just something that appeals to me when I hear Fitzgerald. Even when I hear Campbell, people talk about Lincoln Riley. Man, those guys don't leave those jobs. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But the one person that sticks out in my mind, well, let me say the two. Fitzgerald and Peterson. Those are the 2 that I would like. And yeah, of course we want to sell the job, but at the same time, we want the coach that wants the job. Adam Gase took the job because he knew this was the last job he was going to take.
Oh, that's a fact.
Cliff Kingsbury interviewed in Manhattan before he got off the plane. The Cardinals said, "You want a job?"
Yeah.
and then
that's what happened.
Chris Johnson made it look like he was a genius, and the only person that wanted the job was Adam Gase. I mean, come on here.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's why, it's important that we get the right guy. And like you said as well, the next coach here is going to look at it as this is a challenge, and I'm coming in to fix this, franchise and get it headed in the right direction. So I honestly, a lot of people give the Jets knocks.
Like?
Yeah. Who would I like? I'll definitely get to that. That's a great question. I like Eric. I understand people want to go to college route. I know you talked about Campbell and those other guys, and some people even want Harbaugh. But I'm big on coordinators currently, and I'm big on coordinators that have been able to develop and groom young quarterbacks, because I want to stick with Sam Darnold. So I look at guys like DeBoe, who's worked with Josh Allen. If your staff can turn around Josh Allen's mechanics, bro, you can do anything. Okay. If Arthur Smith wants to come here,
point.
Yeah,
that's a really good point.
Yeah, if Arthur Smith wants to come here, I'm doing it. If he wants to come in and work with Sam, I'm with it. I love Eric Bieniemy. That's my number 1 guy. I loved Andy Reid's offense. Even after he left Philly, I know people were talking about all these other things. Dude, he went there, got around some young offensive minds. If you look at his tree from Peterson, all these other, they go places and they're competitive. They put teams together. Their offenses work. So I think bringing him in here is very smart too. And kind of my outside guy, my last guy, he's starting to get, pushed down is Greg Roman. I know some people don't like him. Some people do. He's one of my guys that I have, you know what I'm saying, that I have kind of on the outskirts looking in out of my top, so those are like my top 4. But I think another thing that people are not looking at as well, and that's why I'm so glad that these reports are coming out, that Joe Douglas is going to be in charge and the Johnson's going to get away, because I think one of the things that made us unattractive was the Johnsons. And I don't think people talk about that enough. The Johnsons and their dysfunction, the nonsense that we're all Jets fans. We've seen it for years. Some of the things that they've pulled. Hiring Gase, right. Not like you brought up Rule, the issues that they had with Rule, trying to literally pick his coaching staff for him. All these other things we've had. Now that the reports and things are coming out that Joe Douglas is going to be running the search himself, I think that kind of alleviates, pushes the issues away from them, and everyone knows they're going to deal with Douglas. I'm super excited about this because I do not think that we're as far down the list as some do. I think we're either second or third. I truly believe that because we have the structure now with the general manager that has connections, that turned a box safety into 2 first-round picks. I will say it again. He turned a box safety into 2 first-round picks. And we've seen him do other things to better this football team, and he's respected around the league, like truly respected, not like, Mike Cagnon respected, like really respected around the league and is able to get things done. So I'm excited about that going forward. What are your thoughts on that? I'll give you your last word.
I think every one of those candidates would be great. I mean, we can only go up, but at the same time, we can definitely those guys have already proven and showed the stat, and their offenses are in the top 10 to top 5.
Yeah.
And we haven't had that in God knows how. We haven't had an explosive offense. We haven't had an offense where we, as Jets fans, would pick as our first pick in fantasy football. Come on.
We're usually trying to get the guy facing the Jets.
Let's not lie. Exactly. We picked the defense playing the Jets. So for once, let's get a receiver from the Jets and let's get a running back from the Jets.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Mike, listen.
And change those uniforms. And change those damn uniforms. It looks like antifreeze on concrete. I'm sick of these uniforms. Who in the hell designed that?
Mike,
things
listen.
are horrible.
I want to thank you for calling in, man. Happy holidays to you and your family. Next time I have a show, please call in, my friend. I love hearing from you.
I'm calling in. Happy New Year. And go Jets.
Go Jets. Right. You have a good one. Oh, Mike calling in with the fire. Mike calling in with the fire, man. That guy was phenomenal. Again, I want to thank everybody for watching the show. Whew, we've definitely blasted through a lot. Salute to everybody watching. Salute to everyone in the chat. I'm going to go to the Savages really quickly before we end the show. But Gene in the chat, yo, salute to you, Gene. Gene says, Brian DeBoer is the guy. Hiring him helps the Jets while simultaneously hurting the Bills. Yeah, I like DeBoer quite a bit, man. I like him quite a bit. And like I said, if you can fix Josh Allen's mechanics, you can do a lot here. Gene also says, if a top head coaching candidate doesn't want to come here anymore, forget about him. Move forward. That candidate should have never been the guy in the first place. Yeah, you look at the situation, the next head coach that comes in here should look at this as a challenge. He should want to attack. So I like those takes. Salute to Gene in the chat. Salute to all the Savages, all right? So with that said, listen, folks, I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Please let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love to hear what you think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. I'm also on Twitter as well at YoungJ000. That's 3 zeros. Go ahead and follow me. I'll follow you right back. You want to troll me? No issues. I am the troll that lives under the bridge, okay? And I will have my Sam Darnold jersey on. He's been playing solidly. So I'm excited about that. You can also follow the show's Twitter at The Long Beach Joe Show. The Long Beach Joe Show. Go on there, follow me. I'll follow you right back. You want to talk to me? Hey, hit me up. We can go back and forth as well. I'm also on YouTube as well at Long Beach Joe Jets. Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube. You can also see my live streams when I live stream on there as well. Again, you'll see this thigh right here. Whew, my eye is. Don't worry. Everything's going to be all right, folks. But go ahead. If you want to troll me under the comments, no issues. I will troll you right back with no problems whatsoever. And as always, people, when you see me in person, when you see me in person, okay? It is arms out, chest open, free hugs for everyone. Free hugs for everyone. It will cost you absolutely nothing, folks. Cost you nothing, all right? So I want you folks to have a good one. Happy holidays to everyone. Happy New Year's to everyone as well. And enjoy your times with your family and be safe out there. You folks have a good one. Peace. 1 second, folks. 1 second. Oh, that was a phenomenal show. Phenomenal. All right, folks. I want to thank everybody for calling in. I apologize. Blog Talk is tripping as usual. Blog Talk just be tripping. It is what it is, but we continue to push through it. And again, folks, this is just a sty here on my eyes. I don't know what's going on here, but we'll figure it out. Salute to everybody, in the chat. Concern, thank you. But I'll be all right. We gonna keep it pushing. We gonna get it together. If this is your first time watching me, please hit ! links in the chat. That brings up my link tree. You can check out all of my YouTube stuff. I will be coming back Saturday. We're going to do a live stream for the final game of the season. We're going to do a radio show Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to do a radio show for the last game. Sunday, I'm going to live stream for the game as well. So, come and join me. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, see what's going on here, and have a lot of fun. So, again, I want to thank everybody for joining. Thank everybody for, calling in. Phenomenal stuff, man. I love talking to y'all. And we're going to keep this going. We're going to do shows all throughout the off season, all the way around to when the season starts. So please be prepared for that. We're going to talk free agency. We're going to talk draft. We're going to talk about it all, all on a weekly basis. So we're going to definitely do a weekly show. So again, I want to thank everyone for joining me. You folks are the greatest. I will see you folks Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Be here. Please call in 515-602-9639. All right. You folks have a good one. Salute to Portway, Val, Michael. Salute to Jerry. Salute to Gene. Salute to, everybody, Rob, everybody that joined, every single one of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Venom G's, Matthew, Leon, just everybody, man. Everybody that joined. Salute to you, Curvin, Ledger, everybody, man. I really, truly enjoy it. Really love talking football with y'all. And we're going to keep these going. So we got a lot of things coming as well. I'm going to be live streaming different stuff, so I want y'all to get involved. So again, 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, I will be here. We'll be talking football. So you folks have a good one. All right.